Call this meeting to order, the special meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Park District of the City of Fargo. First item on the agenda is, I got to read this here, the Executive Director candidate interview. This item may be discussed in executive session. Legal authority, blah, 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 44-04-19.2. At this time,
that's legalese.
is that at this time, a motion would be in order to discuss to move to executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Johnson. Hi again, Vicki Dawson.
Right, Joel Leach, nice to meet you.
Hi, Stacy Griggs. Nice to meet you. And we'll let you handle it.
Welcome to sunny Fargo.
Yes. Balmy, about too low out there?
Even a fresh coat of snow for you.
What was it like before you left yesterday?
Not too different. About 15 degrees in the morning.
Oh,
So, snow. It's at 8,000, 7,000 feet.
Oh, you're that high up there.
So, not totally abnormal. I got the wrong clothes on for it.
Well, welcome to Fargo. We've got the next 2 hours set aside. This is your last stop of the day. I think you've been ordered around pretty well, and we've got a series of 6 buckets of questions, and we'll just keep circling around the horn, asking you questions from the various buckets, and then we'll have some time at the end to allow you to ask any questions you might have of us. And to get things started, I think Diane, our HR director, coached you up with 10 or 15 minutes, or however long you want to take to talk about yourself, your background, your experience, why you're interested, and all that good stuff.
So, originally from north of Seattle, born and raised in Canada. And went to Washington State University, got my recreation administration degree. And then from there I went into the resort industry for a while. About 2 or 3 years I was in Florida, Colorado, Oregon, a few other places. And that, correlated back to this, that taught me a lot of good customer service aspects. And then from there I went into municipal recreation with Campus Washington, which is a suburb basically of Portland. I did a lot of recreation and aquatics, did some parks, quite a bit of grant stuff, and some small project management. Did that for about 7 years, and had an opportunity to be through a stepfather to get in the computer industry. And did that for a year, thinking I was going to get to stay home with my kids more, which I did. But I was at home for 100 hours and seeing them less than working for 40 out of the house. And so I wanted to get back into municipal recreation. And so I went to Eastern Oregon. That's where the Hermiston job is. That was an expansion upon what I did in campus, basically. It was a larger aquatic center. Overall, the recreation. Did a lot of projects there. Did a lot more grants, $200,000 a year grant funding. And then helped out with the parks quite a bit. And from there was an opportunity that I found in Arizona that is a Fortune, at the time, 200 company that owns mines all over the country and the world. And they were having a hard time recruiting to the largest copper mine there in Arizona, which is full of dusty roads and bad infrastructure. And nobody wanted to be there, but they wanted everybody to come through there. So they were doing a $2 billion project in the mine, and they carved out around $200 million for the downside, which I was part of a lead team with engineers mostly to do that. That is an infrastructure project scope that was there. There was about $60 million that I was responsible for. That involved a rec center, brand new rec center, brand new childcare center, a bunch of 20+ parks, Starbucks, a renovation of a bowling alley, a movie theater, a trail system, and stuff like that. So I got a lot of really good capital improvement project experience doing that. And then from there, it needed operation. So I developed the org charts, developed the entire concepts of how to operate these, and then run them through corporate, and hire them, train them, and then train them with the staff and manage them. So that's what I did there. My kids were getting ready to enter into high school, and the school system there was super great. And so I chose Los Alamos as my next stop. They have really good schools and really good amenities. It's a little similar to the mine site in the fact that it's instead of a mine there, it's at Los Alamos, it's a lab that was responsible for the bomb. And it's still in operation. They do a lot of stuff still, obviously, for the federal government and with nuclear stuff. So there's a lot of well-educated people, very affluent, and high expectations, but a really good budget for a town that size. So there's a lot of amenities. I had about 10 different departments that report to me. And very similar aquatic center, a ice rink, a golf course, a nature center, open space, parks, recreation, library services, social services, and a bunch of cultural service initiatives, and facilities, a senior center, actually 2 senior centers. And so a lot of the same amenities, a little bit smaller scale, about half the operating budget, about $13.5 million there, and it was about $10 million last year for the capital improvement projects. So that's basically my history in Parks and Rec. And then why do I want here? So now I'm at a point where my kids are going to college, my family dynamic has changed. I'm free to go wherever I want. And so this is an area of the country that I've targeted as one of the areas I would like to potentially explore in my final stint. And I saw this job time out with it, and so then I was looking into each of the jobs that were posted, and wanted to make sure I got into a system that was a good system, that was well run. And this one was of interest to me after I went around today with all your staff. Essentially, at this level, you're really just running staff. And so my interest was validated today. They talked to me at great staff. They look like they want some consistency and somebody to lead them. And so more so than when I arrived, I would say that's what I've been good at in my past is doing that. And so yeah, I'm excited about the position and if given an opportunity, I'd love to come here and help create great community. I guess.
Great, thank you. If you need some water, so don't hesitate. We'll get you some water, and then.
How about we just put one there and then?
Where is it Brogan?
Where is it? So, you know where Safford is? So if you're going east from Tucson and Phoenix, they meet. And basically it's Safford, it's about 50 miles north of there. So it's about an hour west of Silver City, New Mexico. Right?
Okay, all right.
Kind of out in the middle of nowhere, it's a big hole.
Okay. I just never heard of it.
Yeah.
Probably for a reason.
Area 51 kind of thing.
Correct.
So from a timing perspective, we got we got the 6 buckets. Each of us are going to ask a question. It's about 35 questions, or 30. Excuse me. So you can pace yourself however you want.
Okay.
The first bucket is going to deal with culture and fit. You want to start, Rusty?
We
Start
can
over.
There you go.
Outside yesterday.
What 3 aspects of your last role gave you the most satisfaction?
Human interaction is always one of them. So getting to know the people personally and professionally, and being able to help them professionally. So I take a lot of pride in through the PPA process and through just weekly meetings, getting to know what they want to do, and every time I have a task that fits into what they want to do, I make a point to get them involved in it so that they can learn. And it's a lot of people I've developed during my time of mentoring them, and have gone on to go at places above me. Someone would kill them when I've left, and so that's definitely one aspect of each aspect. Another is having it be a formal conversation through a Parks Board meeting, or it could be playing golf with a community member, and they're like, hey, why don't we do this? And they have a great idea. And being able to take it from that really great conversation to fruition, and some of those things grow into large programs, or capital projects, or whatever they are. And that's a really neat thing to be able to do. And I would say I like planning. I like organizational management, so planning and budgeting and all that. I do that personally and professionally. And so it gives you a chance to take a large entity, which takes a lot of planning, and test your skills.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. Tell us about your proudest professional accomplishment. What was it, and what were the results?
I probably used Arizona just because the pace of that. So being able to do all that infrastructure while creating the departments that were hosted in a temporary facility until the construction was done, all basically from scratch while in a mining community. So like when I was creating job descriptions, the HR at corporate Phoenix had only done mining. So they wanted to build in all the safety, they wanted to build in all these things. So I do that and educate them on, hey, this isn't going to work, we'll get nobody. So with all those challenges and then having it come out to be positive, where the whole community and the communities around us all want to be part of what we're doing, it was pretty still going today.
What factors make you the most effective at work?
I say just the fact that I'm pretty transparent, I'm honest, and so I end up being able to, with everybody that I get a chance to interact with, build pretty good trusting relationships, and that leads obviously to a lot of effectiveness.
Okay, what is one professional mistake that you've made that you wish you could go back and fix?
So I'd say in my past, I would come into a new situation, or a new employee would come on, and you read their resume, or you know what their job is, and so you come in and you start at that level, and sometimes people are in places that they're not skilled to do, and so I would fly right over and go too fast, and I would have to come back and circle away and say, where did I shit? And usually it was at the beginning, and it's like, oh god, I wasted a lot of time for both of us. And so now I've learned a lot better to gauge that in the beginning. Kind of like I was saying before, I use that situational leadership model. So I'll have a conversation before, hey, where are we at on this task? And making sure we're both on the same page on A, where we should start, and B, how I should manage them and how they should want to be managed to make sure that I'm not micromanaging or undermanaging them. So that's been a typing and area of improvement that I've improved a lot. I think I lost some people. They fell off, they didn't want to say they were lost, and so they just continued to be quiet and they continued to fly away over their head.
Tell us about your professional strengths, and then maybe some areas that you feel are your weaker areas or areas you can improve on.
Okay, so what are first since I was talking about? So I'm still continuing. That's a constant work in progress. Trying to talk with each person before each task. When you're going fast, you're doing a lot of things. Not making any assumptions on where people are and how they want to be managed, and so making sure that you're having an honest conversation with them. And sometimes it doesn't go the same. You're like, I'm pretty sure that they're pretty great at this, and they're like, no, I'm an expert. And so I say, so you want no direction from me, and you'll just report back to me the results. And they're like, well, sure. And then I'm like, well, I'm not super comfortable with that. And so then we'll have that discussion, and we'll say, okay, why do you feel this way? Why do I feel that way? Getting to there. But those are hard conversations to have, and so that's always a challenge, I think. But as you do it more, as I've done it more, it's become maybe a strength too, because I don't think a lot of other people do that. Another challenge for me, well, for any new job, so if I came here, would be getting to know all the internal and external stakeholders, understanding how things were done. Those always take time. To understand what everybody's strengths are, what their weaknesses are, who the right players are, and then make things happen internally and externally. So that would be a weakness when I come here. Strengths. I would say my approach. So being able to sit down with everybody, pretty early stage in if I was to get this job, and be able to develop that communication. So I saw one of your guys' core values is intentional leadership, and that was one of the things that attracted me to this position, because I use that term a lot. And so it's building in that communication into everything, into our agendas, and building it into our meeting planners, and not having meetings just have meetings, but having them be value add, but putting in the agenda, putting in things about culture, putting in things about different shares that we can do in collaboration, and trying to take our core values and driving them through everything we do, and from you guys through all the way to the temporary employees when it comes to that everybody's on the same page and communicating ultimately for the public all in the same way. And if I'm effective in communicating both directions, then the community's getting what they want, providing the community wants it, we're happy to run it, which is the goal.
Thank you. Are we doubling back?
Yep,
Okay.
might as well.
Okay, this might be the toughest one, so you can ease in after this one. Rank the importance of the following groups and explain why they're ranked where they are. Staff, community, user groups, and commissioners.
That's a good one. Community is the most important, and doesn't mean they're always right, but they're the most important. They're the ones that we all work for. Can you mean ties?
Say it again?
Can you mean ties? I would say the board and the staff are
Sure.
equally important.
You can rank them all the same if you want.
Yeah,
It just,
as a 1A to the community, and the board represents the community and has the decision-making ability for the community, and the staff are the ones that provide it. So as the person in between those two groups, it's important to make sure that they're all just providing what the community wants. The user groups are part of the community, so I mean, in one way, they're already number one. I wouldn't say they're fourth, but they're as an individual group, they're smaller, and so it's a smaller niche. And I would say that's a good question. Yeah. An individual is just so important as a community, so yeah, I could go either way. So yeah, if you tie them into the community, I mean, they would be right there. And they're all. They all need to be listened to and heard and feel heard. Doesn't mean you have to agree with them. If you don't agree with them, you have to communicate with them so that they understand. Any one of those groups understand what should be done. And I'll explain a couple of groups for you. I don't like to make a lot of decisions. I'll make them if I have to, but I'd like to get groups together to facilitate decisions, and there's usually one that comes out of that, and that avoids me from making the decision, which usually there's smarter people in the room based on the topic that we're talking about. So I like to think of myself as a mentor and facilitator more than a person that makes decisions and gets in front of the camera.
Okay, what would your current or previous direct report say about your management leadership styles and practices?
So a lot of my boards.
So people that you currently manage.
Yeah, so a lot of my reports have become lifelong friends, and so we've had very good professional relationships. And then on the personal side, as we do this, there's a line that, but it's good to know some of their personal stuff and go to a few things with them here and there, just to help build that side of it too, which helps with the trust and communication. And so there's people from all the way back in campus 15, 20 years ago that I'm still good friends with. A lot of my direct employees I'm still good friends with on Facebook. They're hard to communicate nowadays. And so I professionally, I will usually give them all the glory. And when they got bullets, they come running to me, and I end up having to go take bullets for them. And that helps a lot. That is my role, and that helps a lot with building a lot of that stuff with them too. And then I'm also trying to constantly develop them. So a lot of them have gone on, some of these ones from 10 to 15 years ago have gone on to do some of the things that I'm doing right now.
Hey,
We have a series of questions we can pick some. So describe a time when you had to confront an employee whose results were inadequate.
Yeah, so that happens. So I had one, and I just want to Steve here. So I had a guy that was in charge of the parks and open spaces and some of the rec stuff, and he did a good job of communicating with people, and we would then get what we needed to do. We timeline it out, we put it all into a plan, and just every week, how we're doing it, we just we bump it, we bump the dates. It went on for too long, and so some things we had to bump, and some things need to be bumped, but most of it just needed to get done. And so I would go circle back around and figure out why we weren't getting it done. And sometimes, the situation depended. Sometimes the staff wanted to get it done, and they weren't given resources. Sometimes the community wanted it done, and we just didn't prioritize it. And so I helped take over that more in a little bit more of a director role than I normally would. And I said, these dates, let's do what we got to do. And they're not going to move. And we're going to go check out to him. And he was good with that. And he didn't get him home. And so his review was not as good as he wanted. I mean, and he just liked to go at a different pace than the community wanted, which was, I determined with my boss, is that too slow, too fast? And so I helped him a lot to get the key ones done, so we didn't fail. And a couple of those things fell by the side, and a couple other things probably should have gotten done that we didn't identify on the chart, but could have easily gotten done. And he did. He ended up, he was previously retired, so he ended up saying, this is just too fast. So, this is a fast moving job at this point. It used to be slower, I think. And he ended up, just fine. I think he asked about it, like, retired from it. So yeah, I mean, that's very good.
Thank you.
All right, as an executive director, you will be both a leader and a manager. How do you see these roles intersecting?
So I'd say a leader is more on an interpersonal basis, where you can informally lead or informally lead. So you have to have to lead, you have to have people that follow you, obviously. And if they're only following you for your position, then you're not leading. So I'd say that's the point that intersects. So as a manager, you can tell them what to do, which will get you good short-term results, probably not good long-term results. Whereas if you're leading them, you're much more apt to get good long-term results. And so you got to get the short-term done if it needs to be done, but you got to make sure that you're not focused on using your position to get the results, or decide on long-term.
Give us an example of a method you've used to successfully encourage or motivate your staff.
So I use, so back to that situational leadership model. It's actually because I made that in it. So it's a program that you get certified in. It's got it's got 4 quadrants. And so when I do the PPA process, and this is throughout the entire department, so I do it with my staff and do it with theirs and it works down. So we always try and make sure we're getting the job done through the performance evaluation. And then trying to come up with some base goals and then one stretch goal at least. So when you do the stretch goal, it's something that they're not really comfortable doing. They're excited about doing hopefully, but they're not comfortable. And so we'll sit down and take all those tasks, put them into the quadrants. Are you autonomous, or are you excited but you need direction? Are you not excited and need direction? All variables between. And so I can't take on too many because my reports I can't take on too many because if I'm doing directed behavior, that means I have to mentor them and all those. And so everybody has to be careful of what they're taking on. But as you do that, I always want to learn this, but I'm excited about it, but I've never done this. And I want to get to the next level, but I don't have the experience, say, managing or projects or whatever it is. So we'll find something that's suitable to them in the time frame they need, the time frame that I have to manage, and we'll give them that experience. And I'll make sure that I give them the directive behavior they need to succeed. And then it turns into a success. Doing that. Meanwhile, they'll do other things that they're really good at. And I'll say, okay, great, I agree with you. And just report back to me and keep me updated on where it's going. That allows without working too many hours, be able to accomplish your job. So a good mix of that takes things ultimately from a highly directive. Once they do one thing they like it, they get really good at it, they become autonomous, so that you can just keep adding things to the time pretty soon they're ready for that next level. Right. So they're very successful.
Our next bucket is leadership, strategic planning, and work experience. We do a lot of capital planning and strategic planning. Just wanting to know what your experience is in either one of those and what plans you've developed and implemented in the past.
Okay. So I've done a lot of that. I was involved in it in Washington, Oregon. I was in charge of it in Arizona. I was in charge of it in Los Alamos. And so the way I do it is, well, I've done it in a lot of ways. Once with a consultant, it's a big process, but the way it's most effective I've done, this is what I did in Los Alamos, was we would use the county's strategic plan and make sure we do our part in it, and then that would generate our mission and our mission and how we're going to accomplish that. So we broke that into internal and external, and then so it would provide good customer service. So then how do we accomplish that would be our next thing, and then what do we need to do that at a high level, so 10, 20 years. Then we would go into each department with that template, and they would do more tactical planning departments. So they would do their own mission vision and then do tactical planning. So in 5 years, what can we do at the golf course? What do people want? What does it look like if we do it all to create good customer service in that box? And that would generate 10 or 15 things. What are we going to do in the next year and a half, which would be the operational plan to support that? And we did that after 5 years. We divided that 5-year bucket into this 1-year bucket. So it's 1/5. All of a sudden, you have enough certified people to meet our ideal goal to provide the service we want, or we have whatever it is. And things like that are public. Then we take it to the public. Hey, here's what we're thinking about doing. We want your feedback. Get that vetted. We take that through the boards to the public and get a lot of good feedback. The things that are internal. So we talk about workplace culture. It's an internal one. What do we want our workplace culture to look like? To be like the aquatic center or recreation. And how are we going to accomplish that? And with those, we don't do so much with the public, so we kind of do things out internally and externally. And then those are a year-long process. It's not a once-a-year thing, but once a year, you go through it formally. Everybody takes notes throughout the year so that we'll get you guys more effective. Thank you.
We have a large, diverse park system with many community partners. How would you manage how would you approach managing the disparate interests of stakeholders, board staff, community partners, volunteers, donors, etc.? All of the pieces that come together under just what you described in your strategic plan.
Yeah, so the parts that influence them, you definitely want to be in communication with them. They want to be part of the plan. So as they're part of the plan, then, so you're at the aquatic center, for example. So the number one goal of the aquatic center is to have aquatic fun and prevent drownings. That's above fitness, that's above competitive swimming, let's say. Maybe 1A above it, but it is above it probably. Then when the time comes for a lap lane, gets it, you go back to your strategic plan, and all of a sudden, that swim team that's in front of you is competing against a drowning prevention class. And it's like, well, let's look at the plan and do it with them. And yeah, I remember. And so that 5 to 5:30 slot that everybody wants goes to the drowning prevention program. That's what the plan says. And that usually helps them understand that. And then you try and find another time for them. Maybe it's not quite as advantageous, but still accomplishes their goal. So you're trying to find that middle ground to compromise. Same thing with golf course, same thing, everywhere in trails. Is there what this trail is going to be? Is it special use trail versus a home use? So you always want to get involved in the plan. And then remind them that if the plan is wrong, and not like, well, this is a terrible plan, well, then let's look at it, and we can do that immediately. But it works better on a yearly basis. Let's take the notes and then we get them together and go over it on a yearly basis, run it through the board, through the public to get it, signed off on each year, just to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Brian, I think when you saw the position and decided I want to apply for it, I'm sure you did your research and, started investigating, what's going on, what's happening, and we'll readily admit the board did a rough patch with the previous executive director. Things didn't work out. The guy's a nice guy, good individual, hardworking, just didn't fit right. And so that's why we're here where we're at today. Conversely, we've done our research and we've investigated our candidates that we brought in. It looked like you did a similar kind of rough patch in your previous position, and I guess we'd like to kind of put that out on the table and just get a sense of your relationship with the board, what happened, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, so there's one person that was really it. So there's one staff member that recently got hired, and he was in his 6-month probation period. He did some self-healing for a substantial amount of money. It was also discovered prior to mine that he had signed some contract on his previous job for the county for over $1 million. So I reported that to my boss, and he was simultaneously working on, I don't know how much you read, but on a bike park. So 2 things were happening at the same time. And so we had the self-healing going on, and then we also had the bike park going on. And he was going to work with the bike group to get a plan and bring it forward. We're going to cost estimate it. It wasn't in our small cap project list. It was already approved by council. And so I said, get costs, and council wanted it. So it's like, we'll bring it from council and see where they prioritize it. And it could get next year's budget, or it could get squeezed into this year's. You could get extra money or steal it. We need a number. And I got a call from the paper, a call from the center review. And while there were bulldozers out there going, and it was getting torn up and rebuilt. And so I had to stop that. And so I worked with legal and my boss, and I said, well, what are we doing here? And ended up stopping it and closing it up because it wasn't safe. It didn't have a plan. It was just being designed by some volunteers, which we couldn't do because we couldn't insure it. And so then we're, as long as I was there, we worked on getting a plan for that. And they disapproved. So they're going to have USA get Mexico in there and do it correctly. It'll be insured. So that happened. But my concern with him was he was actually one of the ones on the bulldozers doing it. So I had recommended before his 6 months was up that he not pass his annual quality work plan. And so he wasn't super happy with me. And we talked about each one of these things as they were coming. And he got into arguments with the building code people and everybody, because they were actually the ones that put the day on. And so he's good friends with the Parks Board person that was on our last meeting. And I had just, the Parks Board I had been involved in it. It was originally, before I got there, run by what they call the pros manager, which was a guy named Chris Wilson. Then he left, I took it over, and 100% I was involved in it before. And then he left, and so then the 6-month period. So then I was going to come back to a guy named Dan, that took over for Chris. I said, okay, I think this goes back I'll facilitate whatever you guys want and whatever council wants. And she did a little speech, and I don't know if you saw it or not. And so that little speech she made, like a little 2-minute thing, that's what generated the article. And it was really upset at the decision that he was being removed. And as long as that, there's an article I think if you read about the golf course, and there's a lawsuit. There's a lawsuit that's going on right now, and so I was filling in when the pros manager was gone. So I was directly responsible for the golf course during that time period. He ended up moving into a house that's owned by the county that he wasn't supposed to, and it was an old Indian house that had been dilapidated. So I heard the rumor and told HR and said, do you want me to go with the investigation? So I went on to the initial investigation with HR. We saw all the stuff and they're living there. So we went and talked to him. He denied it. So HR kind of took over from there, and he ended up getting fired. But since I was acting at that time as his boss, he made me. It's really just it's him sitting me on, but I think on that one. He had ended up doing a bunch of stuff on computers with he'd send emails to himself from his staff that he'd gotten passwords from, and that's what got him fired. So I think there was something about me using my position to get my kid a golf cart or something, if you read the article. It's totally inaccurate, and I had to see the pass for everything so that my kid, that's our business.
So when you learn about your experience dealing with the board through that?
Well, good communication is the key. And so, I mean, when I got joined in 2 days before the board meeting, and I'm not happy. I said, well, I'm here for the next 2 days talking to you about it. But I said, the board meeting will happen. She goes, well, I want to make a speech. And I said, I don't think that's going to be helpful. And I don't know. She was upset that her friend got bumped out of it. I said, no, I don't have to control that decision.
So just so I understand, when you talked about your boss, so who did you report to, like the city manager or?
County manager. Yeah. So it's the city council, county commissioner mix. So the whole thing is one entity. It's an H class double entity. Yeah.
So you are or aren't in that position currently?
I'm not. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Recently, since
Okay. Got it.
Thank you.
Okay. So as the executive director, how do you plan to shape the organization's image, and what are your public relations experiences in relation to that?
So I have standard experiences in public relations. I've done TV. It sounds like you guys have more TV crews and are more interested in things here than most places. But I've done those before. I've done a lot of paper stuff. I've done weekly stuff on the radio.
Well, we are a separate public entity as opposed to just a budget line item in the cities.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. So I know that part of it. So there's definitely a strategy with that. It's exciting to see that you guys have people that's what their job is, and so that's good instead of trying to do it all yourself as the person in charge. Works a lot better when you have people that are maybe can do that. And what's the strategy? The strategy would be multifaceted, obviously, but obviously trying to build and maintain trust with the public. That we're meeting their needs and providing exceptional services and meeting the core values of the organization. So we're highlighting our successes. We're being transparent with our operation and all those things that go along with that in a public manner.
So you'll find yourself, if you're in this position, you'll find yourself in a variety of public or private events where you might be with people you know, you might be with people you don't know. What's your thought on how you work the room? Because you may be there as Brian, but you may also be there as the executive director of Fargo Parks. So are there certain people that you would attract yourself to? How do you treat different groups that might be in or different levels or types of people that might be at those events or.
So yeah, even when you do things that are mixed between personal and professional, you always get associated with the professional. So you're basically there professionally every time. So you can have conversations with them, but my opinion is if I say it, it might as well be on the record because it's going to be anyways. And so everything I do, I try to hold myself accountable to that and make sure that I'm managing myself professionally in that regard.
Do you,
Which means I'm treating them all equal and everything.
so in a room, let's say we're there, and then you've got, you know, a couple of the staff there, you might have the mayor there, you might have Bison coach there, and you might have just some general public that you don't even know who they are. Who do you attract yourself to, or how do you work that room, and who are you going after?
I would say it would probably be depending on what's going on at that time. And so, yeah, I mean, whoever, you know, whatever the best use of my time is in that room. And if it's something to do with my staff and the public, you know, I'm going to bring the staff along with that too. Something to do with you guys, the public, bring you guys along, or whoever, you know, you're basically trying to facilitate the most highly effective use of my time and everybody's time there. It's something like that. I was thinking more personal at first. Think you're just at a restaurant or something.
Sure.
And, but yeah, so something like that, you would want to try and, if it's a network, you try and maximize your efforts and time
Okay.
networking.
You get to go again.
Oh,
Unless you're not ready.
this doubling back thing. What do we have? Change in leadership. How do you find out? Well, let's go with this one. What are your top 3 priorities if you get this job? The first 3 months. What are your plans? Next 3 months. What do you want to accomplish in those first sections of the first year, maybe?
Okay. So initially, it would be, number 1, keeping operations going. 2, getting to know all the staff, getting to know all the stakeholders. If you didn't have time in the first 3 months, probably the important stakeholders first, and then secondary stakeholders second. Getting in and understanding everything that you guys want, understanding all the plans that are developed, and what my role in the plans is, and what the district's role in the plans is. And so that it's effective for the future with all the planning efforts. And there's a lot of stuff going on right now that are future projects. So making sure that those don't get slowed down at all. And then for the middle 6 months, either understanding the timelines of those better, of everything going on, or developing timelines for accountability. So you're building it, going from understanding to a little bit more of what is the accountability for these, what does the public want, what do you guys want, what is the staff doing, is everything aligned? If they have a 1-year date on something, and you guys in the public have it at 2-month, that's a problem. And either we're behind or something. So getting those all aligned, making sure everything's good. Obviously it's 2 months, but it's hard to go with it. And then tying it all together, probably the final quarter, making sure that you've got good relationships with staff, you've met all the external stakeholders, you start to get all that stuff that I kind of described earlier. What do they want? And checking it against what you're accountable to currently and what the future, you should have the future plan by then kind of figured out too. And making sure everything's in alignment, there's no variances.
All right. Do you have experience with natural disasters, i.e. flooding? Please describe your reactions, action, communication. If you don't have experience with flooding, describe other natural disasters you guys.
So you're saying a snowstorm's not actually
That's true too, but flooding is obviously something that's huge that we deal with in Parks and Rec, probably more than the city even does.
Yeah. So we had the same thing. We had a river going through in Oregon, in Fargo, and so that would happen not at the scale that you guys have. We have a little bit more hills in our train, so keep from spreading as quickly. So I've dealt with that some, mostly not in public exam, but in Los Alamos, there's a lot of disaster training that we did. We did monthly stuff there. And so I've done a lot of training on that. We did that obviously in the mine too, tons of safety stuff in the mine. And so I'm well trained on it and actually implementing it. Hopefully we never have to implement a lot of the stuff that Los Alamos is trained on is nuclear. But they did have the town 400 homes burned, the entire mountain burned right above them in 11. So there was a lot of wildfire stuff, and our department was a huge role in that. So we did a ton of stuff on that. And 2 years ago was really dry. Nobody was really scared it was going to happen again. So we did a lot extra for that. So that's the biggest fear was wildfire. And then to outer open space, we did a lot of mitigation. So we got a lot of federal funds from FEMA for mitigation for that. So we would do preventative work. So ongoing the whole 3 years I was there on fire mitigation, trying to keep it away from homes and trying to keep it controlled in certain areas should it ever happen. That's done, not during the fire season, but during the fire season.
So we bring you in 6 weeks into the job, you've done your assessments, you've looked around, you see things like we need to fix this, we need to do this, we need to do that. So you start to put the Brian train together. And the problem is as an outsider, you got to win people over. If you go too fast, you'll lose them. So how do you find that groove and that fine line? What's the magic to get the Brian train going in the direction you want it to go without not having passengers on board? So that's a tricky environment.
Trust, communication, good planning. So that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. So you come in, you see some things that are sticking out. So the very first question, well, does this need to be resolved right now? Is somebody going to die? Is this going to make papers? If it does, then that goes in a different category. You got to deal with that. But this is not a good practice. It's something we need to work on. Then you look at the next thing. Is this something that they even know is not a good practice, or do we do training to educate them first? And a lot of times that will solve it. So, like I said, I did my assessment in Los Alamos, and a lot of stuff that they weren't doing right. They didn't know. They didn't know what they didn't know. And so we did a lot of training to educate them, and then a lot of like, oh my gosh, I need to do this better. It's different, and a lot of it's self-corrected. And then the ones that did, then you kind of start dialing in on that. And it's just done through mentoring and coaching for the most part. The only time you go beyond that is if you get a super resistant attitude. And hopefully, you got a good clubhouse at that point. You've already notified your culture enough that the clubhouse will, get people on board and solve that.
Okay, thank you.
One of Fargo's premier parks needs a refresh. You probably drove by it today. Tell us about your experience in master planning. Well, we already know that, so you can skip over that.
Yeah.
To refresh this existing park. Also, tell us about your approach to refresh to include your overall approach and planning process. We already know that, but here's a big one. Identifying funding sources. Obtaining community involvement. Those are the two parts that I haven't heard yet.
Yeah, so each project usually has a story. And so you're trying to figure out what the story, who's going to use it, who's going to be impacted by it, who sometimes is going to get business across town that wants, let's just use a skate park. They're not buying it, they don't have anything to do with any skating, but it's going to move skaters away from their place because they've been complaining to you about skaters in front of their property the whole time. So they're now the person you want to identify. And so as you're going to gain support for the skate park across town, you want to take all those people that are one-offs all over. You would think about doing this, you try to find ways, in-kind is always easier to get than cash. So you try to find out who you can leverage, and who you can get funding for. And so if it's a Little League field, you'll have 2,000 kids, Little League, 4,000 parents. One of them might have a construction business. And so you're always trying to look at who you can use and what the value add for them is, and come up with a plan to solicit them for it. And that usually gets you most of the way to to a good project, and then you use cash.
Thank you.
Curious what your appetite for risk is. And more just on a project basis, you know, where maybe you took a leap of faith on a project that you wanted to champion and then it went good or bad.
I like to think I'm conservative, but then I look around the world a bit. So I think the answer to the question is I do take risks, but I would call them smart risks. So to me, they don't seem like risks. I think I go about them pretty conservatively. But then I look at other people that are constantly stuck by paralysis by analysis, what I call it. It's like, well, wow, I'm taking a lot more risks than people. And when I was doing that thing in Arizona, there were weeks where we're making huge decisions, and it's like, we don't finish, we lose out on our funding because the mine project's closing. And so there I took more risks than ever, and we probably made some mistakes there. But yeah, usually you wouldn't make them quite that quick, and so that was good to be able to make mistakes there, and be able to recover from them because we had the money to recover. And
It's always good to make mistakes on other people's money.
Yeah, so we did with like, hey, we're not going to make this. We go to the edge account, and he's like, let's just do it. And we make a mistake always. It's like, oh yeah, that's perfect. And sometimes they were like, yeah, that was a mistake. It's like, yeah, we do that. He's like, no problem, man. Just pay for it. And so it was a good learning of, you never know how fast you can drive, without crashing until you crash. It's good to be able to crash a few times. And then, okay, now I find out the speed. And so I haven't done that, but that's for money. Very few errors, which is good, but it makes you wonder if you're going too slow. But now when I compare it to the industry, through national conferences and trade teams, it's like, no, I think they do a pretty good job of taking risks, but I would like to think they're smart ones.
So category 5, budget finance. I'm not going to quiz you on our budget. I don't know if you looked at it at all. Roughly our budget is 80% publicly funded, 20% privately. Wondering your past experience, if that's close to where you've been, and say the board would come to you and say, we want to be less dependent on public funding and get that closer to 60-40. I mean, are there things in your mind that we could be less dependent on the public side and do more on the private side?
Yeah, so like you guys are looking into doing that big complex right now. So that has a lot of, I imagine, opportunity to generate funding, and how that's constructed. And so opportunities like that will come up based on the fee structure and based on how you set it up. And so I've worked at multiple places, some in Fluent, some in Oregon. It was pretty bored, and I worked for this private country. So I've had kind of all the different elements of that. And we were a lot more dependent on private funding in Oregon and grant funding to do things. And
So what was their percentage? That was at Hermiston, correct?
yeah,
Okay.
in Hermiston. Well, I don't remember those, but we got a couple $100,000 a year in grants, and it was only a budget of $2 or $3 million, and then we had a lot of revenue generation to pay for a lot of it, and then it was a very small amount that was publicly funded. I want to say like 20% or something.
So you mentioned fundraising. Have you done any larger scale fundraising in other jobs?
Some project-wise, but no, not like operational.
Okay. Thanks.
You've answered so many of our questions.
Yeah.
Well, tell us how you would, if you were the next executive director of Fargo Park District, and you met all of our directors, and so you kind of have an idea of the different buckets that go around, resting over our funding structure. How would you start out the budget planning, and how would you guide the directors if they, how would you keep everybody kind of in line so that it was equitable based on how we want our parks to be presented to the public?
So really, look at, I like going backwards, because what's the end product we want, and what's it going to cost to get there, and then you work backwards, and if there's a gap, then you got to figure out how you're going to divide that gap up. So it's not always equitable, I would say, is the answer. If some places need more money, and everybody
if you put it all together, and this is the product we want to allow, and this is how much revenue we have from taxes coming in, we know this is basically our fee structure, and you're 5 million short.
Okay, so
What's your what would be your this is an add-on, but what would be your answer to that? Would
Sure.
you ask us to raise the mill? Would you look at your staff and say, what incremental increases can we make? What would be your approach to that?
Yeah, so I went to Sonoma, whenever that was, one of the crash was, and we got the pros, and we got told across the board, do everything was 10%. And so the first thing I did was, they all sat together, okay, what do we got? And we actually did this almost to 1 year. And some people have some projects they can't get to, so they're going to give up some capital. Everybody had their own ideas, and so we write them all down, write how much they were, and then we could look at them all, see what the total was, see what we needed out of that. Usually it wasn't enough. And so yeah, and there's a lot of ways to go about it. It kind of depends on the situation, depends on the projects you're doing, what their profiles are, and what the goals of that budget cycle are. But yeah, there's usually 10 to 20% that can be cut if need be in any entity. You can freeze vacancies is one. You're usually trying to hold staff to the end. But vacancies are done that way. A temporary freeze on a vacancy can be a good 6 months. Usually easy ones, especially on high personnel budget plan.
Can you talk in terms of operational requirements versus new projects and services? In our park district, we've grown a number of new neighborhood parks over the past number of years. So we've got more square footage to keep mowed, and we've got more resource requirements. We're spread out further. And yet, so we have this new stuff. We're all happy about new stuff, but we still have the operational stuff that we have to take care of.
Yeah.
So how do you handle that being in the past?
Yeah, so that comes up everywhere, I think, and so what happens is people want to get a project done, usually a council or something, and so you gotta get it done, and it's underfunded, and so then you end up using some staff to do it, which takes away from operations. Then when you get it done, then you have more to maintain, cost-wise, let's see, water and all those things, and then you also have more staff time, so you end up working yourself into this hole, and the farther the more you do it, the deeper you get in the hole. So I try to come up with a matrix for all of these projects and right up front with that project before, when it's getting schematic design. Try and come up with, here's what it might cost, it's percentage of an FT, here's what the operational cost might be. So the true cost of what it's going to be instead of just a one-time cost. And I try and explain that as much as I can so that it's not sticker shock when it happens. And that doesn't ever get you all you want. But it helps you go at a pace that's sustainable. And then as you grow your capital, you also don't fall off or work yourself in a hole where you're just piling for things.
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't realize because I knew a question I was asking, but I did steal a couple questions.
I was just gonna say, you know what?
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna take Rusty's. I'm gonna take credit for Rusty's. Can you tell us your hands-on experience with fundraising? So thank you for the answer you gave Rusty, and I'll deflect it.
I actually decided I was running an option play once we got this far and said, no, I'm just going to stick to something else here.
Okay, perfect.
So, what do you envision as a typical day for the executive director of Fargo Parks? How would you spend your time? What do you kind of think it will go like?
I'd say they vary so much in project dependent. So on a time when there's not a big project going on, there's not a lot of meetings going on, not a lot of budget or planning going on. Getting around and getting out to each site is important, and making sure you see it with your eyes and you interact with people that are out there, and have conversations with them so that it's important for them to see you and feel and understand that you understand what they're going through and that they're feeling heard. And so making a point of that is an important part. You can't do that all the time. We don't get anything done. But setting aside time for that. So I like to, once again, that's that whole intentional thing. I like to build that into my schedule to make sure that I get around each of them, even when it is busy. You can have a whole year to be busy, and all of a sudden you don't see people over here. And so building all those things into
Okay, so the executive director position is in the pay grade 22, which means the salary range is between 114,000 and 152,000. And HR can provide details on the overall fringe benefits of the package. Do you have any specific salary requirements that you would need us to know about? Consider you for the position?
No, not necessarily. I mean, this isn't San Francisco or anything, so that's nice. No, I just give my years. I don't give a matrix. It does years of experience or whatever. Yeah, I mean, like anywhere in that upper half of that.
And then, if you were selected for the position, is there, what kind of timeline would you, if we offered you the job today, how much time before you think you could be up here and run?
Basically, got to mobilize my house. Is where I'm at. So I got to finish house and housing. I think in 2 weeks I can kind of have that done, and then I would just need to physically go. So 3 to 4 weeks.
So not next summer or anything like that?
No. Yeah.
Well, that happens. I mean,
Once the snow's
It does.
gone, when that white stuff is gone,
Sometime in July.
yeah.
Just kidding. June.
they'll scare away.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us? You've covered a lot of our questions
Okay.
through your answers, but is there anything that we haven't asked that you'd like us to know?
All I have when you asked about the past job, maybe I probably should have said, just, so that was an unexpected thing. There was some strain, but it was pretty minor. And then it was out of the blue that happened. And, to pretty much everybody. And, I've since heard that, he had gotten, with all these lawsuits, kind of something to a lot of, strain, I think, with the council, and asked to make a change. So I think because I was being asked to overlook some of these legal actions that were happening, and not do anything with them, sweep them away and own them, which I wasn't really comfortable with. I think I got it. I had nothing in my record, and I was told from him not for cause. So just that.
Collateral damage.
But so I said, I understand. I mean, I was like, well, I said, I understand where it is. Yeah. It's his call.
And sometimes newspapers get it wrong.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What? I know, not here.
And, I mean, I looked at it as a positive. I mean, if they want me to do illegal actions or any of those kind of things, or sweep illegal actions under the carpet, it's not something I want to be associated with anyways. So I'd rather move on.
I'll have a final question, but I'm just curious, something on your resume under awards. It stopped outstanding attraction winner in 2018. I always like to try to be on the cutting edge and see what's coming instead of trying to react to something. What was that? Is it something that...
That was for the Nature Center. I forget what entity gave that to us. I didn't put entity on it.
NMHA in 2018.
National Foundation.
What's the next one? Mexico HA.
I think it was national. It was for our nature center. We have this nature center with Glen Dairy in it, and it's a really neat facility. And I forget what it gave us.
Okay, no, that's fine. My last question is, why should you be our next executive director?
I would normally answer this by saying, that my experience and my passion for the job are aligned with your things. But after meeting staff and hearing what they want, I say that with a little more confidence that what they're looking for are strengths that I have, and it's things that I like to do personally and professionally. I like to do the same thing personally with a lot of my with my kids, his friends, and friends. And so I think I could be a good asset for what you're looking for in building this back to and creating a longevity system back to where we had with a lot of good planning and a very cohesive family atmosphere.
So what did you hear? What do they want? It's kind of curious to me because we're very close. You don't always hear what they want. I mean, overall,
I have
some
some
of
groups
the
that said,
things
"What do you want from the executive director?" And a lot of them had at least a lot of heads nodding and a couple of people saying, "We want to feel heard. We want to be involved in the process. We want better communication." And expected. But it doesn't mean it's a problem, but it's a good area to focus on. And there's also those same reports that people are working at 50% because they're not engaged, because they don't feel they're getting trusted and have good communication. So it's like a free workforce that you can never get them to buy in anymore. I've had places where it worked really well. It's like all of a sudden burden people went up and so did fun. It's like, wow, this is something I got line on. That's when I got interested. That was in early Hermiston. And a really good team.
So we've kind of exhausted our questions, Brian. Do you have any questions for us?
I guess the question for you guys is something kind of same thing. What are you looking for in the next director? And what are the challenges that maybe weren't described?
Anybody want to start?
I'll tackle the challenges. I mean, the challenges, there's always challenges and jobs, but I think that the next person coming in here has far more opportunities than challenges. So,
That's what it sounds like.
right, and I think you heard that throughout the day. It was probably a long day for you, but I think it gave you a very good perspective.
Yeah.
You know, from 8 o'clock till 5, I mean, what you'd be getting into.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's exciting things coming up.
I think the challenges that our previous director ran into is he just lost his team, and so in the previous director before him had been here 20 some odd years. And if you look around at all our directors, they're all long-term tenured people who've been here a long time. So anybody new that comes in, particularly with guys that this is the way we've always done it, gets to be a challenge to say, oh no, we're going to change, we're going to do something different here. And keep getting that buy-in and moving the cheese without losing people, that's a challenge in really any position, not just this one.
I'd say the challenge is that our footprint is extremely large. There's an expectation from the community that we pick up the slack, anything. I mean, we will take care of anything that the community needs or wants that isn't being met in other ways, through recreation or whatever. But we have from senior services to to recreation to we have a huge footprint, and we're vast, and our staff are all heavily experienced, been here several times, and there's an expectation on their part that you will know and understand all of the entities. So they're looking for more than just management style, they're looking for knowledge. So the challenge is getting up to speed with everything that's going on in our system. I think again, when I say that's a challenge, I mean, as Rusty says, there's more opportunity than anything. So as it is a challenge, it's an opportunity.
Well, to build on that just real quickly, I think when you met with our user community at 1:30, I think was it 15, 18 people in there, and they're all tugging on our coattails saying, we need this, we need that, and we got to try and appease all that and spread it without disrupting and giving too much one direction or another.
But a lot of opportunities because that many people are interested. And they want to be doing whatever is next. Not just getting stuck in one area, but like what's the next thing. We compete, regionally. We're in kind of a remote area globally, but regionally we compete with Sioux Falls and Minneapolis and even Bismarck and Grand Forks, and we want to be like the leader in that. And we have great partners in the fact that we border on Moorhead, Minnesota, and West Fargo, and they have strong systems as well. So there are a lot of exciting things happening in our community on top of the acres of mowing.
We're not mowing right now.
Not today.
Not today.
And we get a lot of traffic. It maybe doesn't necessarily always stay, but we get a lot of people coming into our community. The two major highways in the United States, I-29 and I-94, intersect in Fargo. So, we get a lot of user groups and a lot of people that have come through our community. So, yeah.
I don't know how much we touched on this, but as far as a new leader, team player, and the team is a lot of people. It's not just us. And someone who, you made the comment earlier about facilitating or mentoring rather than making the decisions on your own, which I think is important but then it's also someone who's not afraid to make those tough decisions and isn't always second guessing and can say, you know what, I value what you guys said, but here's how we're doing, and actually will lead that group as well. Listening to the community is going to be a big deal. Actually wanting to hear what the community has to say, even when you might not like what the community has to say. You made a comment about that earlier too, about talking to the community, but they might not always have it right. So, yeah, doesn't mean they're always right, but listening to the community, you know, that's going to be a big piece of this. Is not just, well, if you don't talk to them, you won't really have to worry about what they want.
So I figure my job is to keep them away from you guys. And if I'm doing my job right, they're coming, mostly to me to come up with these ideas or complaints and hold them and have most of them. And so I mean that's what you guys are hiring this person for, is to go with all that.
Anything else?
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Appreciate it. Long day of time.
Yes. Too quiet on the morning. I think
I just looked at the temperature. It's going to be officially 21 below at 8 a.m.
Here?
Thanks, Brian. In here.
That's not wind chill.
yeah, that's lovely.
Well, if you're at 8,000 feet, you're probably used to that.
It's like that's very
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming out.
station.
Here's the restroom.
Right around the
In
corner.
the
You just
Oh, yeah, there.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was picturing. trying
It's
to
not
think.
where you think it would be.
I know, but I knew
So
where
that's
it was.
why. Because I always think, well, isn't there another one that way? But
I know. Okay.
So you figured it out. It all sounds wonderful.
Safe travels home. All right.
we're walking over and coming back.
Oh. I think we
Tara
need
will
to
do
keep
that.
recording.
Yep, Tara will do that. So we're ready to walk over, right? Or are we?
Do we want
Are
to
we gonna
debrief
visit a
first?
little?
Yeah.
Okay. Stacy, we'll be right back, I think.
Hello, Jeffrey.
Exactly what the textbook would say, but there's no details
Stop.
whatsoever.
Right over here.
And the kids started asking more specific questions, trying to get specific answers, and then always went back to the surface and went back to the textbook, and it was perfect. Very, very, very like, yeah, in fact, what did, oh, yeah, the questions, that's not the textbook, it's not the questions, you use the textbook as a generic resource to solve your personal specific problem. Problem is, he didn't tell us specifically the answers for our problem, and we couldn't get them because, he gave me a lot of good things for me to solve the problem. I'm not going to be in second treasure, but that's textbook.
Waiting for the two. We're still in executive session, so
Oh,
it's kind of like holding heroes. We're in Colonel Police.
I was just telling you. Details and all the information was perfect. And I could see the questions started getting more pointed to try to get actual answers as well.
I wasn't in the first interview for this. I've work, so this is my first experience with
oh, this is the one you asked.
Yeah, that's the one I had.
All right.
They don't know who's giving them a ride.
Dave Beats
Okay. So you must be.
Come upstairs.
Does Dave know? Does
Oh.
Dave might not know that he's done since it's only 4:15.
He can walk.
It's got a heavy jacket.
Where's he staying? Where
I
is
think they're in Radisson, aren't they?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to put them downtown in case they wanted to
these
walk
guys
around.
suggested he should just walk.
Is he at the hotel or?
No, he's at
Radisson,
Radisson.
I think. That was the plan.
Really
You
good.
know, so-
Was that he was going to walk? Well, when we booked this, we thought we'd be walking around town. It's currently 4 below.
If Beats isn't around, we were done, I think, right?
No,
That's where I work.
he's here.
Right.
He's on his way.
Give him a tour on the way to the hotel.
Well, does anybody want to start?
Hard to hear.
Very
But,
hard to
You know, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. You know, you can tell he's nervous, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything either. I think there's, you know, when you want a job, you're going to be nervous. So I had a hard time hearing some of it.
It got better as we
He
moved
did
on.
get better.
I don't know if the water helped
Yes.
with the throat, but I was feeling the same way. I was hearing about half of the details.
I had a harder time getting him to answer the actual question. I feel like, you know, you'd ask a question and be like, well, this is really what I was looking, you know, what I meant. And I don't know if that's just me poorly asking a question or.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. It's a perfectly written textbook. So and it's accurate. Like that is all the leadership stuff but there was no details there. And I could see as we went around the room, we started trying to ask more specific questions to try to get specific answers.
pull it out.
And it always went back to the perfectly written textbook. What that means, good, bad, or different, that's what.
Well, we all know his current state, and I was hoping it was going to come out earlier, and even when you were prompting him, it really wasn't
There were
going
there were 3
there.
opportunities prior to Jerry just point blank asking.
I stopped through.
Which is a concern,
Yeah.
because,
Trust.
well, I would think you know that we knew,
Right.
and you take full advantage of,
You gotta get out
let's
in
just
front
throw
of
that
it.
elephant out there
Exactly.
right now and be done with it. And use it to your advantage to say, you know what? Well, the professional mistake. Now, it might not have been a mistake what you did,
Right.
but I bet there's things along the path that you could look back and say, well, and that's what I thought it was going to come out, was
And
he's
it
going
could
to
be-
say, here's what happened with my job.
And it could be it's too fresh at this point. I don't know what the sequence of events are, but sometimes you have to have like a few weeks to sit back and go, oh, well, if back a year ago I would have said no,
Yeah.
or whatever. And
Yeah, you're
he's
almost
just not
smarter
there
in
yet.
hindsight, you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't sweat it, and he gave, actually, that was the only part I felt like we got specific details about anything and an answer on. To be fair, but he did rattle right through the whole
Yeah.
situation.
I was ready to ask him, did anybody have your back on this when you got put assigned to go deal with this? But before I could get it out, you said you got railroaded or whatever your comment was, and it was kind of like, well, no.
Collateral damage.
Collateral damage, yeah,
That's what
he said. And that's-
Insinuated that he was the fall guy in the
Yeah.
situation.
But
That's what I
He
wrote
did
down.
s-
Paul, right.
As he was explaining his current position, he did say a few things that were past tense.
Yep,
We
yep,
reported
yep,
a couple
he
things.
did,
So,
yeah.
so it was obvious if you listened to him that he wasn't there.
Yeah,
that
he wasn't
gonna come
saying,
out
in
and
my
tell us.
job now.
Right.
So he was being, his answers were honest.
Yeah.
He just didn't say, hey, by the way, did you know I don't know, I'm not there anymore. Or, hey, here's my updated resume.
he really needed to address that before we asked him.
I was impressed at the end when he was telling us about asking the staff what they want. And I don't know if anybody else has done that or will do that, but I thought that was interesting that hey, what are you guys looking for? What do you want in needing a leader? I thought I liked that.
Didn't Sue Foss ask us generally that question too when we asked him?
I mean, when he said he asked the
Oh,
staff.
he asked the staff.
And she may have, and the others might do that too, but I thought that was nice. I like that he said he's going to get out and about.
The only concern I have is he says all the right things and he's got great experience, but I feel like he's just going to be running a lap, and if you catch up, great, and if you don't, oh well.
Well, and since he's 6'8", that could be a tough lap. Yeah.
And
So I got that feeling like he goes at warp speed and you either keep up or you fall off.
And you have Rusty, Jerry asked him that situation, and he didn't skip a beat telling the story of what happened, but it was like a book on tape. There was no emotion. There was no going into more detail about, I would hope that my boss would have my back, but it was just like, and then it was, at the end it was, oh, and they wanted me to do some legal things, and so I want to be a part of it anyways. Like, and I'm like, there, you gotta have some, I didn't feel any sort of passion.
And again, it could be.
Negative or positive, I just didn't feel
Yeah,
any
like
passion.
you'd either be upset, or you'd be
About-
disappointed, or you
about
might
anything,
be
I
mad
feel.
about something, like this guy, or, yeah,
I
you're
didn't
right.
feel emotion. I felt it was a well-written textbook that I would go to if I was passionate about something. I wanted to figure out how to navigate my way through a situation. And it was written in a way that it was generic enough that I could then put it to whatever my specific situation was. Unfortunately, if he wants this job, I needed to hear how he would take all that great textbook information in his brain and put it to work in the Fargo Park District, and I didn't hear that. Anyway, that's just...
It was that teaser to you come to the second show.
Yeah. Right? I'm not saying
This
it couldn't.
was the second
Oh.
show, that's,
And when you answer questions that generically, that's why we get done as quickly. I mean, he answered all the questions, but
no stories.
there was no stories. There was
Let
no.
me tell you about a time.
Tell me about a time, and it was a generic person in a generic situation, and we started the story and ended the story in less than a minute.
The conversationally, just harder to talk to. Just harder. It wasn't a conversation today. It was ask a question, give me an answer. I'm curious about the communication skills. You know, when I asked about work in the room, it's like you didn't really get where I was going. And, you know, I'm not trying not to give you the answer to my question, but just conversation. You know, and if you don't understand the question, I would expect you to say, okay, is this what you were looking for, or did I?
Which I think actually
That's
Susan
what you were
asked for
looking
some clarification on that, because it is kind of a difficult question. Like he said, well, I thought you were talking about like going out to a casual dinner.
Yeah. Well, and any of the questions, it's nice when they're, hey, is that what you're looking for?
Yep.
You know?
Okay.
You would think that we could get a second set of name tags without carrying names.
That's what I was.
We just need
Let's hope that we're not doing this
Well,
again
we
anytime
need
soon.
them.
Do we need
Well,
them in
We
there?
need them in there.
We may need them for Friday.
We need them for Friday, but do we really need them here?
Oh, I'm just teasing. I can carry mine over there and
I know,
let
but-
Karen know
That's
where
what-
they're
I'm
at.
coming back.
Probably need them to close out the session.
Karen knows where they're at.
Nobody's gonna remember who we are, where we sat. Oh, there's two blonde ladies with glasses.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I can tell you that he's more than 6 days, because it happens so that I have to look at somebody that I. Yeah.
So I can tell I was looking up.
Yeah.
The minutes will show that the executive session was adjourned at approximately 3:25. 4:25, excuse me. The public has been invited to return to the meeting room, and we are now back in open session. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We are adjourned.